Hey guys, what is going on? Holy cow, what a morning. Absolute barn burner of a fight this morning. It was such a fun time, aside from us losing, which, obviously that part sucked. It's never fun to lose. But I went through probably about 120,000 troops, if not 140,000, just between how much I had on hand, my drill grounds, plus the hospital. So I had another like $7,000-8,000 in my hospital ready to go. Emergency center, I had another, I think around 4,500 to go, and then I had some sent in my barracks ready to go as well. So all in all, yeah, I burned through a ton of troops today. But then I also ended up getting, I think I'm around like 100 or 1.5 million kills or something. I know I ended up 53 million points for today, which is pretty high for me usually because I don't really do a ton of attacking on versus day. I just don't really, care for it because everybody pretty much shields, and it's just not a ton of fun. For the most part, I just don't feel like spending a much time just chasing people around either. So that's just me. Warzone duels, I love fighting in Warzone duels, but like chasing, trying to find like one or two people that aren't shielded to fight for like 5 minutes on versus day is never usually too exciting. Sometimes there's some good opponents that we get. And then going to Capital War here, man, we threw up some crazy points on our server. So you can see, I mean, it was basically us versus their entire server. So there's a handful of us that scored, almost all the points for the Capital War. And then, everything else was on their side. But I mean, you can just see how many of us that had shown up from 71, how many points we had to score, because it was basically 3 of them for every one of us. And it certainly felt like it because we were attacking people and we were getting hit by, several other people at the same time that we were attacking. So it made it, pretty difficult. By the end there, they were running out of troops. We were obviously running out of troops too, especially a lot of the smaller players that couldn't quite keep up. In the end, we ended up losing by about 8%. So it was like a 92%, something like that, to 100%. Super close. Really brought it down to the wire there. That was just us, basically sending everything at the Capitol to try to hold it as long as we could. It was just hard when they had hundreds of people sending to the Capitol and we only had 50 or so sending to the Capitol. Made it pretty hard to continue to hold on to. And now we're in this position where, we had such a huge fight, and, it almost feels like nobody wins because we're all going to be dead for troops next week, myself included. I used all my speed ups. If you look at my speed ups, I'm down to 15 universal hours. I got a few days for construction. Yeah, nothing for healing, nothing for training troops. It is going to be a struggle this week to train back. I'm going to be lucky if I end up around like 35,000 troops by the end of the week. So we will see. Hopefully I'll be able to train something up so we can fight next week. It's going to be an interesting one. We got 107, which is King North and Houdin and those guys. So that should be fun. A server certainly in the same situation we are. So we'll see how that goes. But man, it was just brutal. I mean, just going back, show you some of the battle reports here. And this was, us all day because they just had so many people. So every single hit, whether it was on the Capitol or the cannon, we were just able to get so many kills in here because it was so loaded. I ended up this fight here. I lost because I basically had gone through several other teams before then. So my power dropped from 62.2 to 54.3. So it certainly makes it hard to compete when you start losing that many troops. And then this was probably my biggest hit right here. Almost 27,000 troops went all the way through here. I think I turned back around and maybe hit another player, but didn't really get much after that. It was kind of funny because the very last hit was the only hit that did a ton to my team, and that's because it was a 58 million march. Yeah, makes it easy to get a bunch of points and a bunch of kills. but it certainly makes it really hard to actually win when there are only a handful of you competing. And all that to say, there's two major issues now that we have. One of which is definitely the troop thing. With T11s out, the time to train, the resources to train, all that stuff is excruciating. It takes so long to train them up, so many resources. And so in between Warzone duels, it is just going to be very, very difficult to get troops back in time for the next week. And if you win, you get a blowout win and you don't have to use that many troops, great. But for players that, you throw everything out there, you do everything you can to win, and you're left with nothing, you're stuck rebuilding. You're going to have a fraction of what you did the week prior going into the week. That's certainly an issue. I really hope that they come out with some new tech to help troops training and the cost reduction. I'm working on that right now. I'm trying to get my drill grounds built so I can continue to increase the amount of troops I can carry. But at the end of the day, 60,000-ish troops only gets you so far, because you need to be able to train those many troops every week if you run out of them. And for most players, it's just almost going to be impossible. Even T10s, if you got almost 60,000 T10 troops, for most players, it's almost impossible to get, about half of that back throughout the week. And even for myself, I'm war leader, which means that I have a couple different buffs in here. Obviously, the drill ground buffs is a really good one here. Unit mobilization, I can get 250 troops every day for free. So throughout the week, it's going to be a little over, 1,250 troops, 1,500 troops, depending on when I can get those before the next fight. And then troop training, that's the Badlands one. I'm trying to find the troop training one. It is somewhere in here. There's the other drill ground capacity. No, here we go. I passed it. It was down at 15. So training speed of units is increased 25%. So I can train 25% faster than an engineer could, which reduces all the time for training my units. But even with the buff and the 25%, you can see here I started training the T11 troops, and I still had about a day and a half on these. So if I were to train just T11 troops every single day, which I don't have 35 barracks on all mine aren't all 35, so I wouldn't be able to do that anyways. But still, that'd only be probably somewhere around 16,000 troops, because I'd only be able to train them about every day and a half. If I'm lucky, that's 4 trainings that I can get done, and that's without using any speed ups, obviously. But yeah, 16,000 troops out of 60 is nothing. And then the other thing is we really need help with servers. My gosh, it just hurts me to see servers with just like 2-3 alliances, but just not that much action. I know people have things going on, people have real lives, so I get that every once in a while you're not available. Like for myself, like there's other things I could have been doing, but I wanted to participate. I wanted to give our team a chance to win. I took the time out of the day to get it done, and I know a lot of people that could, maybe they just don't know what to do. They don't know how to fight. I had seen people who were attacking from the hive, which is just crazy to think about. Being this far into the game and not knowing how to attack the capital, where to get yourself in position, just get in the mud and get it done. But I really wish they would do something before Season 5. I hope they would do some kind of transfer event, allow us to get more players in, because we really, really need to get some more players in to be competitive. And a server merge, man, would be just amazing. I know that's not going to happen anytime soon, according to everything that we have seen so far. It sounds like it's just going to be some kind of modified transfer event. I don't even know if that would be before Season 5. Probably not. That would be my guess, which kind of sucks. But oh well, we'll deal with it. We'll get through Season 5, and hopefully something big happens before Season 6. Hopefully Season 5 keeps people around, because it just seems like after every single season, we just have more and more people quit. So then the net result is, yeah, you can bring in some more people, but if you have a couple people leave or you have a couple people quit the game, then it just doesn't help you at all, especially with our server where we can't bring in that many more people in. It just really hurts us that much more. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to recap a little bit from today, talk about my frustrations, and hope they do something with troop training and all that stuff, because like I said, it's going to be very, very hard for people to compete with keeping up troops, especially with T11s, with the increased drill ground capacity and everything going forward, to keep drill grounds full and be able to fight. I know when people start thinking, oh, I'm going to get like 20,000, 30,000 troops, I got no troops, I'm not going to fight this week, that kind of kills things off. You got to still participate, but just making it easier to get troops during these Warzone duels so that people show up and be competitive. That's really all we ask for. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you in the next one.